Hey everyone, welcome to Birds of a Feather. So are you Team Santa or Team Grinch? Well, you don't really have to decide because you can choose both. This is my Santa inspired cell phone case and I'm just working on my Grinch one right here. So let's set these things aside. Now I started the bottom one exactly the same as I started my Santa inspired cell phone case here. So to start, I'm going to make a slip knot. I'm using a number 5 crochet hook and we're going to start by chaining 13. So let's just measure this against our cell phone. And that's looking pretty good. Now you might think that's a little tight, but we are going to be adding some stitches in. So let's chain 1, and then what we're going to do is single crochet all the way across. So that's 1, 2, 3, 12. Now in the 13th stitch, the last one here, we're going to crochet 3. So 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to go back along the other side of the chain. So you're just going to grab that single loop. So that's 1, 2. Now if it's a little too complicated for you to crochet in this tail end, you can always do that after. Just leave it loose and use a tapestry hook or just the crochet hook to weave it in. So let's continue. That's 3, 11, 12. Now in the 13th stitch here, once again we're going to single crochet 3. So 1, 2, 3. Now this will be our third, but before we complete this last stitch, to complete the single crochet, we're going to introduce our white yarn. So I'm going to go grab that, and on this last stitch we're going to be adding in the Scrubby Sparkle yarn along with the cotton. Crochet with both yarns until you meet the top of your own particular cell phone. I'm going to join my green. And what I'm going to do is slip stitch into the side here. I'm going to turn my work and I'm going to single crochet across. So that's 2. You'll notice that I left the yarn. I've got my Scrubby Sparkle here and also the cotton combined into one thread. I'm leaving it attached just in case I need to add a few rows or even take them away. We'll see what happens when I get to the top there. So let's continue. For the back here, I'm working in single crochet. Now that we've reached the side, we're going to put our hook through 2 loops on the side here, and we're going to slip stitch through. Then we're merely going to turn around and crochet back in the other direction, We're going to single crochet all the way across, and then once we get to the other side, we're going to do exactly the same thing. Now, as we slip stitch into the loops on the side, what is going to end up happening is we are going to, if I can show you on this one, we're going to seal up our case here, making our little pouch. You can see the pouch starting to form here. It's fitting nicely. So before I get too far, I'm going to complete some of the embellishment on the front so that I can still access it easily on the back. So let's start on the Grinch's face. For the eyebrow, we're going to chain 12. Then we're going to slip stitch into the next 3 stitches. So that's 1, that's 2, and 3. Now we're going to chain 2, and we're going to slip stitch into this next stitch here, and then right back into the original stitch. And we're creating this little nubby. So we're going to slip stitch into the next 2 stitches. And we're going to repeat that process. So we're going to chain 2, slip stitch into the next stitch, and then slip stitch into the original stitch. So now we're going to go ahead and slip stitch to the end. So that should be 5 slip stitches. Now we're going to go ahead and chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to slip stitch right along those stitches we just made. So that's 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th one we're going to connect right back to where our tail end is here, right into that stitch. So we're going to slip into that, and then we're going to cut our yarn and knot it. And this is what you end up with. This little part that sticks out and this arc here. So to sew it on, if I can just show you on the one I've already done, you're just going to go ahead and stitch it like so. And these little nubbies are just going to sit tight, so you're just going to stitch it in such a way that they look nice and bulky. And there you go. You've got your little whoop-de-doo here, and you've got your arc coming up and over. To make the Grinch's stubble, we're just going to go ahead and make some knots. We don't want the stubble to be too thick or pronounced, so I'm just going to knot once. And then we'll just come through to another area here. Let's come down here. Bring the yarn through. And there you go. Let's do another one. Do as many or as little as you like. So let's come back up here to the mouth, and I want to make the line just a little bit thicker. So I'm just going to whip stitch right along where I was, just to thicken up that line. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of this off camera. Then I'm going to come back and show you how to crochet the eye. To make the Grinch's eye, we're going to do a magic circle. So you're just crossing over the yarn, grabbing that yarn, and we're going to do a chain stitch. Now we're going to do 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to tighten up that magic chain, and let's just do a 5th single crochet. Now we're going to join to the first chain here. Now we're going to do a single crochet in the next stitch, then we're going to yarn over and we're going to do a half double crochet in the next stitch, then we're going to yarn over and we're going to do a double crochet in the following stitch, and there's the shape you're getting. Then yarn over, and one more double crochet, and there you go. Now as you can see, we're starting to form this pointy shape here. Once we have that, for round 2, we're going to chain 1, then we're going to turn our work, and we're going to single crochet 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to single crochet 2 into the next stitch, 1 and 2, and again we're going to single crochet 2 into the next stitch, 1 and 2, then we're going to single crochet 1 and 2, and as you do that you can incorporate this tail end that you have here. Then we'll single crochet 1, single crochet into the next stitch, single crochet into the next stitch, chain 1, and join. So that's the shape you end up with. Now we're going to bring in some orange for the iris of his eye. We're going to do another magic circle. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to single crochet 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to tighten up that magic circle. Now we're going to join to the first stitch here. And slip that right through. Now you can cut this. And now you can just pull that through. So you've got your round iris here. Now this iris is just a little bit smaller than I originally did. I just did it a little too big on my prototype here. Now we're going to join the black, so we're just going to slip it through, tighten up that white. Now we're going to do a double crochet, and a half double crochet, now a single crochet, and we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to slip stitch all the way back, so 1, 2, and we'll slip stitch into the original stitch that we started in. So that's 3. And there's 1 eyelash. And we're going to slip stitch and then do another 3 chains. 1, 2, 3. And again we're going to slip stitch back 3 times. 1, 2, and 3 in the original stitch that we started in. Now we're going to slip stitch all the way around, and you'll notice that I'm holding on to my tail ends here to incorporate them in. Now as you approach the corner here, you're going to single crochet into this stitch and do another single crochet right beside it. You just want to cover up this white area here, and then finally a single crochet into the black. Then you can chain 1, cut your yarn, and pull it through. Now what you're going to do is where you worked in that tail end, you're just going to pull it up tight, and that will give you this depth. And then you're just going to knot that and stuff it in the back, stuff all the tail ends, and then come over to your cell phone case, and then you're just going to do a running stitch all the way around into the black to secure it on. I'm making pretty good progress on the back. For now, I'm just going to weave in these ends. So you can just take the crochet hook and just weave it right along the back here, and then we can cut those ends and hide them. Just neatens everything up. It's just a little more difficult because I've got 2 different types of yarn here, so I'm going to finish that off camera. I'm not going to struggle with that. It's just a little too difficult to do with the camera right in front of me. So for now, let's just finish another row, and I will show you what I do at the sides here. So it really couldn't be easier. It's just all single crochet. Okay, so we just crocheted into the last stitch of this row. Now we're going to turn our work, and we're going to find 2 loops on the side here. Just insert the crochet hook, and then we're going to slip stitch. Then we're going to turn our work and work our way back in the other direction. And again, we're single crocheting all the way across. As you can see, we've got a little pouch forming here. You can insert your cell phone, make sure it's fitting okay. So I'm going to crochet until I'm about maybe 2 rows from the top here. Then I'm going to introduce another yarn. I'm actually going to bring in the same yarn I used for this Loopy Santa inspired pouch. And I'll crochet a band here and then continue onto the front. And then once again, we'll crochet this little flap for the hat. Now that we're a few rows away from the top, I'm bringing in this fluffy velour type yarn. It's a beautiful cream color. So I'm going to insert my hook on the side to pick up the 2 loops. And then I'm going to bring the cream color through. And then I'll bring the tail around and I'm going to work that end. And I'm going to single crochet back as I normally would. And again, as you can see, I'm sandwiching the tail right in between so that it's going to get captured and hidden. So it's just a matter of single crocheting to incorporate the rest of the sides. And when we're done that, we're going to switch to red and complete our hat. Now again, just to reiterate, the hat acts as the flap for the closure, and then we're going to make a little pom-pom for the end. I forgot to mention that we're now done with the green, so I'm just going to back this up, and what you can do is work both of these tail ends in to hide them. So I'm just going to take the opportunity to back up and do that. Just hold them both in place. And after you've single crocheted just a few stitches, you can go ahead and cut the green yarn, because we are totally done with the green. Okay, so now that the green tail is worked in, you can cut that and continue on with the cream. As I said, we're going to work in the rest of the sides. We're now at the top, and we're just going to incorporate our very last stitch here. I'm just going to crochet into this top loop. We're going to slip as we usually do, chain 1, and we're going to turn. We're going to single crochet back, and we're going to do this for a total of, well, maybe 4 rows. It all really depends on the thickness of this band here. You want it to be at least as thick as this, because it's going to flop over the front here. So I'm going to break here, and I'm going to continue crocheting until we're ready to incorporate the red. Meet me right back here. Okay, so if you bend this back, you'll see that we've got double our cream rows here. So we're ready to introduce the red. Now I'm on the last single crochet, and before I bring through my loop, I'm actually going to introduce the red and bring it through those 2 loops. Then I'm going to chain 1 and turn. Now we can work in our tail end as we come across and single crochet. We're going to crochet to the other side, chain 1 and turn once again. And then we're going to start a series of decreases. As you'll see, that flap is going to come on over, and we're going to form the hat. We're at the end of the first row of the red. I'm just finishing off my last single crochet. we're going to chain 1 and turn. And every time we come to the left side when the front is facing, we're going to chain 1 and turn. However, when we get to the other side, we're going to stop short of the last stitch and we're merely going to turn. We're not going to chain 1, we're just going to turn right around and come back with single crochet. Okay, we're on the second last stitch. We're not going to crochet into the last stitch. We're going to turn around and single crochet back to the other side. Once you're done this row, you're going to chain 1 and turn. So all you have to do is remember that when you're on the front and you've come to the end of the row, you're always going to chain 1 and turn. When you're on the back and you've come to the end of the row, you're going to stop short of the last stitch and just turn and work your way back. And that's going to result in this slanty edge here. And when we're done, when we've come down to 1 stitch, we're just going to take the opportunity to single crochet along that edge just to neaten it up. So meet me right back here when we're down to 1 stitch, and then we're going to add a little pom-pom on the end. When you're down to 1 stitch, you're going to chain 1 and turn, and then we're going to make our way down this slanty edge with single crochet stitches. That's how it's looking. There's the back. So for this, you might find it easier to use a smaller hook. So we're simply going to crochet down this edge. Single crochet or chain stitch is fine. You can do whatever you like just to neaten this edge here. I'm doing single crochet. Now you want to try to find 2 loops. So be sure that you're going through 2 loops at least on the side here. Hope you can see that. So there, that's just going to neaten off the edge. As you can see, that's nice and straight compared to how zigzaggy it is if you don't do that. So I'm going to complete this off camera. You can see our edge is nicely straight. Can just cut our yarn. Now we're just going to go ahead and weave that into the back here. Same with the white. And all that's left to do is add our pom-pom. We're going to start with a magic circle. You're just crossing over an X here. You're bringing your crochet up and around. Then we're going to chain. Now we're going to crochet 8. Now we're going to tighten up this loop here. We're just going to pull it. As you can see, it forms this circle here. So we're going to slip stitch into that first loop. Now we're going to chain 1, and we're merely going to single crochet around the circle. So we're going to have 8. Now we're going to join to our first stitch. So now we're going to decrease. We're going to insert our hook into the first 2 loops of the next 2 single crochets. Then we're going to pull up our loop as usual and complete our single crochet. Then the next one is a normal single crochet, and again we're going to decrease into the next 2 single crochets. So front loop only. So you've got 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and complete the single crochet. Next stitch is a regular single crochet. Once again, into the first 2 loops, pull through and complete your decrease. Now we're back to the beginning again. We're going to join, and there you've got your little pom-pom. I'm going to cut the yarn. What I have here is a tapestry needle. I'm just going to wrap the yarn around the end here, turn it around and thread it through the eye. Just guide it through. So now I can just knot that loop, and I'm just going to weave in and out of the top here. So just in and out of the loops. Bring that through. Now before you tighten this off completely, you might want to put a little bit of stuffing in there. Now you can either use stuffing or the yarn itself. Oh, by the way, before you do this, let's just bring through that end to hide it. We're going to hide that inside. That can act as a little bit of our stuffing here. Just hide it right in the center. And I'll add just a little more stuffing in here too. You can use the end of your crochet hook just to get that in. Okay, if you want a firmer pom-pom, just add a little bit more stuffing. And again, use the end of your crochet hook just to get it in there. Now you can tighten up, and there you go. You've got your pom-pom.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
There we go. I'm going to finish that off camera. One last step that you can do is to add a red button here just to keep your case closed. Now if you want to, you can hide it behind the pom-pom if you don't want to see it. And it should be able to easily slip through the crochet, as you can see. There's a big enough hole right there. Now one tip when you are sewing on buttons is to leave a long enough shank so that it's not tight to the fabric. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. Man, you really are a heel. You're as cuddly as a cactus. You're as charming as an eel, Mr. Grinch. For more crochet ideas, be sure to subscribe and ring that bell to get notifications of our upcoming projects.